What if one of history's greatest treasures, the Amber Room, didn't disappear? What if it was hidden, waiting to be uncovered? A legendary historian stumbles upon a coded message that could lead to its secret location, but someone will stop at nothing to keep its dark secrets buried. Join us as we unravel the mystery, uncover hidden vaults, and face deadly pursuers in the race to find the Amber Room before it's lost forever. Will the truth be revealed, or will the past remain locked away in shadows? Stay tuned for the full story. Dr. Olivia Martinez sat at her desk, a soft lamplight illuminating her study as the clock ticked in the background. Her office, nestled in a quiet corner of the university, was filled with old books and dusty historical artifacts, a testament to her years of research. Olivia had always been fascinated by the Amber Room, the priceless treasure that had disappeared without a trace during World War II. The eighth wonder of the world, as it was often called, had been looted by the Nazis and was never seen again after its disappearance in 1945. As she sifted through a newly discovered batch of documents from a recently declassified archive, one peculiar item caught her eye. It was a small piece of paper, yellowed with age, covered in strange, cryptic symbols. It seemed out of place among the other papers, which were mostly mundane war reports. Intrigued, Olivia leaned in closer, her curiosity piqued. The symbols appeared to be a mixture of letters, numbers, and diagrams, none of which made immediate sense to her. Yet, there was something oddly familiar about them. Olivia had spent years studying wartime artifacts and cryptography, and a small part of her recognized the pattern as something from a lost Nazi code. Her mind raced. Was this a clue? A secret message from the past, hidden by those who sought to protect the Amber Room's legacy? The possibility thrilled her. This might be the break she had been waiting for, the key to unraveling one of history's greatest mysteries. But who had left this note, and why had it been hidden away for so long? With trembling hands, Olivia began to carefully transcribe the code into her notebook. She would need help deciphering it, someone with the expertise to crack the code. Little did she know, this discovery would set her on a dangerous path. As she copied the symbols down, a cold chill ran down her spine, and she felt the unsettling sensation that someone was watching her from the shadows. Olivia wasted no time. The next morning, she contacted an old friend, Professor Henry Vanstone, a renowned cryptographer. Henry had assisted her with various historical puzzles before, and she trusted him implicitly. She sent him an encrypted message with an image of the strange symbols, requesting his expertise. Within hours, Henry replied, asking to meet her in person. They arranged to meet at a quiet cafe in the heart of the city, far away from prying eyes. When Olivia arrived, she found Henry sitting in a corner, looking as composed as ever. He greeted her with a warm smile, but she could see the curiosity in his eyes. "Olivia, it's good to see you again. What's this about a cryptic message?" Henry asked, his voice calm but eager. Olivia slid the image of the symbols across the table. "I found this among some documents related to the Amber Room. I believe it's a clue, one that could lead to its location." Henry leaned forward, his fingers tracing the symbols on the page. After a moment of silence, he looked up, his eyes narrowing with interest. This looks like a complex cipher. It's not just random symbols. It's a code. I've seen something similar in my studies, but I've never encountered it in relation to the Amber Room before." Olivia's heart raced. "You think it's a clue?" Henry nodded slowly. "It's definitely possible, but it's not going to be easy to crack. We'll need to work together to decode it." As they discussed the next steps, Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that they weren't alone. She glanced around the cafe, her eyes scanning for any signs of unusual activity, but no one seemed out of place. Little did she know, someone was already watching them, someone who would stop at nothing to ensure the secrets of the Amber Room remained buried. Days passed as Olivia and Henry worked tirelessly to decode the message. The symbols seemed to hint at a location, a hidden vault deep beneath the ground. Olivia's initial excitement turned to trepidation as the clues began to align. The more they uncovered, the more it seemed that the Amber Room had not been destroyed during the war, as most believed. Instead, it had been hidden away, perhaps in an underground facility, far from the prying eyes of the Allies. One evening, after hours of intense study, Henry made a breakthrough. "Olivia," he said, his voice trembling with excitement, "I think I've cracked it. The symbols point to a location, a hidden underground vault, buried beneath an abandoned military base in Eastern Europe. The Nazis were obsessed with hiding treasures from the Allies, and this place, it could be where the Amber Room was concealed. Olivia's heart raced. She had heard rumors of such hidden caches, long-standing legends that suggested the Nazis had hidden their most valuable treasures in secret bunkers. But this was the first real evidence she had come across. "This could be it," Olivia whispered. "The Amber Room, hidden away for all these years." Henry looked at her with a mixture of disbelief and excitement. "We have to go. We have to see this for ourselves." But as they began to make plans for the journey, a dark realization dawned on Olivia. They weren't the only ones searching for the Amber Room. Someone else knew about the vault, and they would stop at nothing to keep its secret safe. As Olivia and Henry prepared for their journey to Eastern Europe, they began to notice strange occurrences. Unmarked cars began to circle their university, and Olivia's email inbox filled with cryptic messages. At first, they thought it was coincidence, but the signs were impossible to ignore. Someone was aware of their investigation, and they were watching their every move. One night, as Olivia returned to her apartment, she noticed something unsettling. Her door was slightly ajar, as though someone had been inside. She hesitated for a moment, then pushed it open slowly. Everything seemed in place, but her gut told her otherwise. The small desk in the corner was now slightly askew, and the papers she had left on the table were scattered about. Olivia's pulse quickened. Someone had been here. Someone who knew exactly what they were looking for. She quickly called Henry, and they agreed to meet at a safe location. As she hung up, she noticed something else, an envelope on her doorstep, addressed to her in a strange, unfamiliar handwriting. She opened it carefully, her heart racing. Inside was a single sheet of paper with one simple message: "Stop searching. You are digging into something far darker than you know." The threat was clear. Someone was willing to kill to keep the Amber Room's secret buried. Despite the danger, Olivia and Henry knew they couldn't turn back now. They had come too far, and the chance to uncover one of history's greatest mysteries was too great to ignore. The next day, they boarded a flight to Eastern Europe, their minds filled with anticipation and fear. As they arrived at their destination, a small, remote village near the abandoned military base, Olivia felt a strange sense of foreboding. The air was thick with tension, and the locals seemed to watch them with wary eyes. It was as if the entire village was holding its breath, afraid of something, or someone, that lingered in the shadows. They rented a small cottage on the outskirts of the village, away from prying eyes. That evening, they sat in front of a flickering fire, going over their plans once more. The hidden vault was only a few miles away, nestled deep within the forest, but the journey to find it would not be easy. "We're getting close," Henry said, looking at the map spread out on the table. "This is it. The Amber Room could be just beneath our feet." Olivia nodded, but a nagging feeling gnawed at her. What if they weren't alone in the forest? What if someone else had already found the vault and was waiting for them to make the next move? The following morning, they set off into the dense forest, armed with only a map and the cryptic symbols that had led them this far. The air was thick with mist, and the towering trees seemed to close in around them as they ventured deeper into the woods. They followed the directions they had decoded, keeping a sharp lookout for any signs of danger. The forest was eerily silent, the only sounds coming from the crunch of leaves underfoot and the occasional rustle of branches. But as they approached a clearing, Olivia's heart skipped a beat. There, hidden among the trees, was a large rusted metal door, a door that seemed to lead to nowhere. "This is it," Henry whispered, his voice barely audible. "The entrance to the hidden vault." Olivia's breath caught in her throat. She reached for the door, but as her hand touched the cold metal, she heard a faint click, a sound that sent a shiver down her spine. Suddenly, the door creaked open on its own, revealing a dark, narrow staircase that descended deep into the earth. With only flashlights to guide them, Olivia and Henry descended into the darkness. The air grew colder the further they went, and the silence was oppressive. As they reached the bottom of the staircase, they found themselves standing in a large, cavernous chamber. The walls were lined with old stone and strange symbols, some of which resembled those on the coded message. The room was empty, save for a single pedestal in the center, where an ornate box sat, bathed in the dim light of their flashlights. Henry approached the pedestal cautiously, his eyes wide with wonder. "This is it, Olivia. This could be the key to finding the amber room." But as he reached for the box, Olivia heard a faint sound behind them, a soft footstep, then another. They weren't alone. Before Olivia or Henry could react, a dark figure appeared from the shadows, blocking their way. The figure was tall and imposing, wearing a black coat and a wide-brimmed hat that obscured his face. "You shouldn't have come here," the man said, his voice low and threatening. Olivia's heart raced as she stepped back, trying to assess the situation. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his coat and pulled out a gun, pointing it directly at them. "You're not the only one searching for the amber room," he said coldly. "And now, you've dug too deep." Henry took a step forward, his voice shaking with fear and defiance. "We're not leaving without the truth." The man smiled, his lips curling into a menacing grin. "Then you're not leaving at all." Olivia's mind raced. They had to escape, but how? The man's gun was trained on them and they were trapped in the underground chamber. She looked around desperately, trying to find something, anything, that could help them. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the chamber and the man staggered back in surprise. Olivia turned to see Henry, his face pale but determined, holding a large rock that he had thrown at the man. "Run!" Henry shouted. Without thinking, Olivia grabbed his hand and bolted toward the staircase. They rushed up the steps, their breath ragged with fear, as the man shouted behind them. But just as they reached the top, they heard a loud bang, followed by a scream. The man had fired. Olivia and Henry didn't stop running until they reached the safety of their cottage. Their hearts were pounding, and they were covered in sweat, but they had made it out alive. As they collapsed into chairs, gasping for air, Olivia's mind raced. The man's warning echoed in her ears. Someone else knew about the vault, and they had been willing to kill to keep the secret of the amber room buried. Olivia glanced at the box they had found in the chamber. The symbols on it matched the ones in the coded message. There was no doubt about it. The amber room was close, and they were getting closer to uncovering its location. But the danger was far from over. Someone was willing to kill to keep the treasure hidden, and Olivia and Henry were in more danger than ever. As Olivia and Henry examined the box, they began to piece together the clues. The symbols and the map led them to a hidden location, but there were still pieces missing. They knew the amber room was close, perhaps within their reach, but the threat of the shadowy figure loomed over them. Who was this man? Why was he so determined to keep the amber room a secret? It was only when Henry discovered a series of markings on the box that the truth became clear. The man who had attacked them wasn't just some random criminal. He was part of a secret organization, one that had been dedicated to protecting the amber room for generations. And now, it seemed, the stakes were higher than ever. The final chapter of their journey would lead Olivia and Henry into the heart of the enemy's lair, a confrontation that would determine the fate of the amber room and uncover the truth behind its mysterious disappearance.